Welcome to the Wildcast podcast, coming to you from Wildcast Studios with your hosts Adam Lund and Jeremy Boucher.
Oh, welcome back and welcome into the season 4 finale of the Wildcast podcast, your unofficial voice for all things Moncton Wildcats. As always, I am your host Adam Lund, and I am here, you know it by now, your favorite co-hoster, Mass Singer aficionado, Hell's Kitchen aficionado, Big Brother aficionado, Poutine Fest grand prize winner, and now vaccinated, Mr. Jeremy Boucher. How are you feeling?
I'm Pfizered up, baby. Very good, Adam. So if you didn't notice my copious amounts of social media posts about being vaccinated.
Us sharing it, everywhere.
I put it on my Facebook, my Instagram, my Twitter. I did go and get my my first shot of Pfizer last Friday. So when the government said that anyone over the age of 12 with 2 medical conditions could go get a shot, I said, A, I have asthma, and 2, apparently the government of New Brunswick thinks I'm obese.
I don't.
So they said anyone with a BMI, body mass index, over 40 is considered obese. So I did mine. Mine was 41.8. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll go get my vaccine if you're calling me obese. So I did. And it feels great.
Feels great now. How did it feel then, though?
Yeah, well, I was going to get to that.
Okay.
If you don't know, I have extreme fear of needles. So this was the first needle I've ever gotten in recent memory or I've gone by myself. I had nobody to hold my hand.
It's that bad?
It's that bad. Right. I've fainted in the past when I've gotten needles.
So for true OGs, if you were listening from day one, I think you talked about having a fear of needles, but you're up for a tattoo if the Wildcats had won the Memorial Cup. 100%. And we were getting that last year.
Yeah, that's something I would have to...
And don't forget, Chris, you're in on this too. Don't think we forgot. Anyways.
So, fear of needles just comes from, I fainted once and it wasn't pleasant. Ever since then, I've just, I've always needed someone to, be there with me. And, so I just said, you know what, I'll go face my fears. I'll go by myself. And it didn't hurt at all. You barely feel it going in your arm. If you go for blood work, those needles hurt a lot more than these vaccines. So that was great. You wait around for your 15 minutes. But man, by Friday night, I could barely lift my arm this high.
Oh, really?
And I had a bad headache. I was extremely fatigued. I went to bed at 8:30 on Friday night, which is,
what, a half hour before regular bedtime?
Pretty much. But honestly, by the time I woke up Saturday morning, the pain in my arm was gone. The headache was gone. I was still tired, but I think that was the first time I ever had a Red Bull in 15 years.
Yeah.
But by Sunday, I was feeling fine. And I feel fine now. No side effects. And it's, you can tell they're really starting to get this doses in their arms.
Yeah.
Right now, they opened it up to 40 plus today. So next week, I'm assuming next Monday or next Tuesday, it'll be 30 plus.
That's what I'm hoping for. Bonus. I don't have 2 conditions.
Yeah.
I'm healthy, but I don't get my vaccine early. You said today you were asking Chris and I how old they are. Chris gets to go get his because he's over 40. I'm like, God.
So, if they...
So hopefully next week I'll be able to get mine.
I'm thinking, by middle of next week, it'll be open to the 30-plus group.
Yeah.
The 20-plus group. There's a possibility that anyone who wants a shot in New Brunswick will have a shot by June 1st.
Yeah.
At least maybe that second week of June, which is really good. So keep them coming.
So did they tell you when you're going to get your second, or when you're allowed to get your second one?
So they said 14 weeks.
Okay.
So they said watch for an email. Maybe you might get a phone call, or when they say that 16 and over group. With the 2 medical conditions, your second dose, you can go online. So I'm figure, first or second week of August would be my second shot. So, hey, I can hold off that long.
Yeah.
And if
waited this long,
exactly. If they keep, if they keep coming and the vaccines keep rolling in, that 14 weeks could be 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, by, mid July, you're fully vaccinated, and hey, I would have absolutely nothing wrong with that. So yeah, your turn's coming if you haven't already got it. Wait your turn. Don't be a line jumper like I felt I was. But anyways, I don't feel I'm obese, but
Hey,
if the government thinks I am,
rules, yeah.
I'll call myself obese for a day.
They gave you the rules. You followed the rules, and
that's right.
You were the youngest one there, but you followed the rules.
I was very much the youngest one there. I felt very uncomfortable. I was getting some serious looks. I was trying to. My sister was, probably an hour ahead of me, and she was in the waiting room when I was in the line.
Yeah.
And she texted me. She's like, "Why are we the youngest ones here?" And I said, "Because we're a fat family." And all honestly, I wasn't jumping lines or anything like that.
No.
I wouldn't do that. But if the government thinks I'm obese, right? So I just went ahead with it.
I like it. All right, let's get right into it right away. We got a jam-packed show. So now we're on our second of 3 finale episodes. Our final update for Big Brother Canada this year. Did I win? Was I close on my random?
Third place. Third place.
That's much better. I think that's the best I've ever done on random picks.
It was a really good guess. The finale was really good. So the final 3 was Tara, Breton, and Tashawn. Tashawn won the final HOH competition. This is 3. The final HOH is a 3-part.
Right.
So Breton won the first part. So he automatically went to the final. And then the second part was Tara against Tashawn. Tashawn won the second part.
Okay.
And then Tashawn faced Breton in the final HOH. Tashawn won. And then Tashawn got to pick, who he wanted to be with beside in the final 2. He decided to take Breton, because him and Breton are of they're black.
Yeah.
And so no black individual has ever won Big Brother Canada. So that was part of his speech. He's like, I want one of us to be the first black winner of Big Brother Canada.
Can't hate that.
No, it's super valid. I was, considering how diverse the cast was this year, it made complete sense. And he won by, he won 6-1 in the final vote. So I thought it was going to be bitter jury. When the jury were asking their questions and saying, "Oh, why should we vote for you?" They were almost giving it off as if they were bitter against Tashawn. So you thought, okay, well, maybe they're going to make Breton the winner, but then it ended up being 6-1 for Tashawn. So it was really a really, really good season. I think it will go down as one of the best Big Brother seasons I can remember.
Yeah.
It was really, really good. In terms of the drama, the comps, just the whole feel of the season was really.
So would he have had that 6-1 win? You think, if it would have been him against Tara, like if he'd have picked Tara?
Oh, he probably would have won 7-0 against Tara.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So only.
I just wondered if it was like, we want the first black winner. Plus, I think I can beat this guy. I don't know if I can beat Tara.
Oh, Tara. It would have been 7-0. No, because Tina would have still voted for Tara. So it probably would have been 6-1. Still 6-1. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's 2 out of 3. So thanks for the cue and for some late hockey, getting us through two full seasons of TV shows. I highly doubt we'll see that next year, but we're close on Masked Singer. If the draft was closer or the Wildcats were in the lottery, we might get the 3 for 3. But Masked Singer back to weekly episodes with eliminations. Robopine, who was Tyrese, who I'll admit I knew from Fast and Furious, didn't know he was an actual singer. So good on them for finally guessing that one. Piglet. I mean, it was confirmed. I sent you a message. It's Nick Lachey. The voice was his.
Been telling you that for weeks.
I know. I was starting to come around to it. It's funny. Like I said, that first clue package, you get so locked in on someone, and I was thinking Bachelor, blah blah blah, and then I was like, that's not even close to correct by week 2. The Dan Marino clue. I found and that's as soon as Nick said, "Oh, I know that." If you look up Nick Lachey, Dan Marino, you'll find a picture from some celebrity football game, and Nick Cannon's there as well. you know what? I'm still going to hold a small hope and hope that I'm the only one that thinks Russian Dolls is the other part of 98 Degrees and the whole group's on there. But I think you're likely right on Hansen. But there's only 2 of them this week, which I guess 2-3 they could.
It's still Hansen.
Yeah.
It's
weird when it comes up
3 of them. It's Hansen. You can't tell me anything different.
Black Swan. I'm going to go with JoJo.
I'm on board with that one.
I heard her the other day singing, and I'm like, that's pretty much it. And Chameleon and Yeti.
You and me.
Chameleon and Yeti.
Song.
I got nothing. I have nothing all season.
I still think Chameleon is Wiz Khalifa.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Most Def, which is who Layla said. I don't really know who he is, but
Most definitely Wiz Khalifa.
I like that. So we'll find out, and we'll keep you up to date on the Twitter. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, Moncton Wildcast, Instagram Wildcast Podcast. Now on TikTok, again, I don't know how much we're going to do there, but please don't like and subscribe right here on YouTube. Quick question, Mr. Boucher. In the 4 years that we've done this show, we've had some wonderful leaders on the ice. Aspero, Peltz, Hudson, Forte this year. My question to you, a young team, you naming a captain next year, or are you going to go with some A's and see kind of who stands out?
Definitely naming a captain.
Are you? Okay.
You have to. I think you have to. I think you go with Daou as a captain.
Okay.
Langlois and Hay. By Christmas, those 2 might be gone anyway.
And that's kind of why I say A's. You know, give Philip Daou an A, Langlois an A, and then I always like having a defenseman as an A. So Hamel as an A.
Yeah.
If Daou is here till Christmas, I can definitely see him being a C. You said last week, asked me a night before the draft if Daou was still here. We kind of talked about things off when we went off air. I just think they go with 3 A's. Maybe even Barbashev gets an A. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but I think they go 3 A's and kind of see who takes the reins as a leader. And maybe Langlois steps up as an A and he becomes a captain as a 20-year-old. But then your 1-year captain's kind of, you kind of want to name a captain for a couple years for a guy who's going to be here.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think Daou is your captain next season. I think Langlois gets an A. I think Jake Stewart gets an A.
Yeah.
And I think Hamel will get an A as well. I think Langlois would be a fantastic pickup for a team that wants to contend next year.
At the deadline?
Daou, exactly. Daou would be a fantastic pickup.
Yep.
I think Daou is going to be one of the best 20-year-old forwards in the league next year. And Daou would be just, that someone that's you can throw into like a third line on a really good team, and he would fit in perfectly. And then that leaves you, with Jake Stewart and Hamel, and I have nothing against someone like Jake Stewart being a captain for the second half.
Yeah.
But give an A to one of the younger players. Like personally, I think Nathan Casey is a future captain. I don't know if a 17-year-old Nathan Casey would get an A, but
Darcy could be another one.
Darcy or an Olsen or someone or a Pilat or a Pavin. A Pavin I think would be. He's got enough A's in his last name. I don't think he needs another one in his jersey. But someone that can will still be here the fall. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but I think you kind of get where I'm going with it. But I think it's necessary to name an A or to name a captain.
When was the last time they did just A's, or have they ever done all A's? Because I know they did the split C's with the Saulnier.
Yeah, I don't.
And then they did the split C's there. I would have to go back and actually find that out. I never. It just came to me, or else I would have actually looked that up.
I can't remember it. I don't think it's. I'm sure it's been done, but I just don't. I don't remember it. I can't think of it. No, it's not coming to me.
Okay. It'll probably hit you like right at the end of the show. Yeah. You'll be like, "Oh yeah, I know who."
Yeah.
It's a wonderful question. And it's funny. We've had great leaders, and you're not sure what the team could look like next year, right? And we're gonna get into that a little bit. But at some point, you want to have a captain that's here for 2-3 type years. But
that's the thing. You need someone that's gonna get a letter and then kind of carry it.
Yeah.
With them as they progress. That's why
kind of what our guest did. Right, our guest we got coming up.
Exactly. Yeah, we have a special guest.
For those listening, you're going, oh, I think I might know who that guest
Yeah.
is. So that's there goes my pen. That's clue number 1. So, all right, let's get to news and notes around the queue.
News and notes from around the queue.
Just before we do this,
Yeah.
I do have something for you,
Okay.
and I have something for myself as well.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna have a little bit of fun here.
All right.
I have a fortune cookie for you. Okay. So you know how like the kids they say you open up your fortune cookies and they read it and they say in bed.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna open up our fortune cookies and we're gonna read it and then we're gonna say
In bed.
at the Avenir Center next season.
Oh, at the Avenir Center next
Yeah.
season? All right.
So mine's already open. It's already cracked. I'll go first, I guess.
All right.
Mine says, "Be prepared to modify your plan at the Avenir Center next season," which is great because hopefully these COVID protocols and these one-way walking signs will be gone. So, Avenir Center, be prepared to modify your plan.
All right. I got be tactful. What goes around comes around.
Perfect.
At the Avenir Center.
There we go.
Yeah.
What goes around comes around means we're going to be walking around in circles. No, not. We'll be we can go
either way, which
either
is
way.
Yeah, I one of the last 2 games I was standing at the edge to go down to my seat, and I took down my mask to have a drink of beer, and the lady's like, you have to have your beer at your seat. I'm like, what? Like, I'm doing everything you want me, but whatever. That's for next year. Major news coming out of the queue there, Valdor-Rimouski series. There was a reported case yesterday which paused that series. Again, we've heard that a series, any team getting it could eliminate them. So it looks today, or that was Monday. Yesterday it came out that, there was no case in Rimouski. They didn't really know. Both teams are being monitored, and they will play. I mean...
It was a prank call.
Was it? Oh, my God.
That's what the Quebec media are saying. They're saying that a player on Rimouski received a prank call saying that it was someone from Quebec Public Health calling. So when the organization or the league contacted Public Health, they said they had no records contacting that player or anyone in the team. So
come on,
there's sick people out there in the world where you literally, I don't know.
That's ridiculous.
But it's so easy to do that right now. I mean, if you go on Google and that text to voice translate thing, it's just so easy. I mean, it's like this is so and so calling from Public Health. This is to confirm that you have tested positive for COVID-19.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Oh man,
it's so easy, but come on. Like,
that's silly. That's what's being reported by Quebec, some of the Quebec media. So yeah, I mean, don't prank call somebody and say they have COVID-19.
Yeah.
I
didn't hear that part.
You can only imagine
that's garbage.
The fear I guess I went through, not just Rimouski but Val-d'Or and Blainville and Victoriaville
and all the teams because they use the same ref in the same building, right?
Yep.
Like I think Quebec's big enough that they'd each have their own dressing room, I would imagine. But
crazy.
Jesus,
that's so stupid.
That is terrible.
Yeah.
For whoever did that, shame on you. There's a special place in.
You're not getting the stick tap of the week.
You are not getting the stick tap of the week.
You're getting the high stick across the face of the week.
The draft lottery takes place tomorrow on the QMJHL YouTube page. Moncton is not part of it.
Well, indirectly
part of it, but not quite. The Drakkar have 43% chance of winning this thing.
We've seen how well that went.
Yeah, the Eagles have a 28% chance. The Phoenix have a 14% chance. The Rempar have a 10% chance, which, like we said before we started this, if they're going for Memorial Cup, whoever that player is headed to a team in the future. And the Mooseheads have a 5% chance with a pick of Moncton. So anyone but Halifax. Anyone but Halifax.
I can echo those statements. We've seen how, the St. John, right?
Yeah.
St. John had was the Joshua Waugh year?
Yep.
Yeah, where they had like a 5% chance, and they ended up winning it. So anything can happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think all of the fingers will be crossed in the Wildcats organization tomorrow.
That it's anybody but.
Yeah.
Even if it's Cape Breton, it's anybody but Halifax. The Maritime Finals, the Islanders have a 2-0 series lead. Game 3 goes tonight when you listen to this. No, Game 3 goes last night when you listen to this, so the series could be over. Have you watched?
Will be over.
Have you watched? You think it'll be over? You think?
Oh,
the Islanders?
yeah, I think so.
I think the Titan win Game 3.
Shoot, that's okay. It wasn't a full beer. It was still empty.
You can tell it's season finale, folks. No, I think the Titan get at least Game 3. But what I noticed from watching, have you watched all the games?
Mm-hmm.
It looked like the Titan came out in Game 1 and they wanted to play the same way they play in the round robin. Physical, they wanted to assert themselves, and the Islanders were like, nope. We're just going to play very structured, sound defense, and when you make a mistake, we're going to pounce on it. And it was in the back of the net. And then Game 2, I think Bathurst was able to kind of figure out Charlottetown's game, but Charlottetown's depth just showed that they can outlast, and they can play any way you want. Low scoring defensive, high scoring, and anytime you get 5 goals on Cortland Ellis, you should win that hockey game. But I think the Islanders' depth is just going to be too much for them.
That's why I say it's over. I think it's done. I think by the time this, our listeners, I was going to say fans. I guess they're fans.
Fans
We
listen.
have fans? Yeah, we have fans.
I think so.
By the time our fans are listening to this show, I think that series will be over. I've been wrong before,
Yeah.
but I think it's. I think we've seen the last of the Titan. And just if they do in fact lose that Game 3, don't forget to quarantine for 2 weeks upon your arrival back in New Brunswick.
Yep. Please and thank you. All right, let's. We're here, season finale. Let's look back on this group.
Weekly Rewind.
All right. Well, it was a unexpected season, or was it an unexpected season? The way that we,
unexpected
for anybody else in the Maritimes, that Moncton would be is what they were, but we kind of expected them to be.
Are you saying the team was unexpected?
I think just the amount of wins, the way the team played with all the injuries,
Oh, yeah.
everything they had. I mean, that was unexpected. Where they finished, I would probably say that was expected. I mean, I picked them to finish last. Now, we also were going to have a full bubble season against the Maritimes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, how would you recap what was just a weird year with this team?
I honestly, above expectations, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think anybody will argue with that. We saw some good things. We saw some not so good things. And there's always room for improvement. I think what we saw from the defense in the first half compared to the second half is very promising. I think we saw that doesn't matter how many players are out of this lineup, they're going to compete. And we
saw consistency in coaching. Bringing the exact same staff back from an amazing team last year to this team. Bringing back the exact same coaching staff and having everybody buy in, having the leaders show what they needed to do to buy in. I think that made a massive difference.
I couldn't agree more. I think Dan Lacroix has shown that he's capable of coaching at the next level. I would love to see him back next season in a full season with a young team. Just to, we're gonna play 60, 68 games next year. We're gonna be going to Quebec. We're gonna be going to Nova Scotia. We're gonna be going to PEI.
Yeah.
So I want to see Dan Lacroix behind the bench with this group against those teams, just to see how we will fare. Because I think, if we would have gotten to play some other teams in the second half, if we would have played some Quebec teams, our record would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
If
we'd have got to play some Nova Scotia teams, our record might have been better.
That's
right?
what I mean. Like, I think we would have won some games against Cape Breton. We would have won some games against Halifax. We would have won some games against Baie-Comeau. I can just keep naming teams that we would have beat, right?
Yeah.
And so they were a lot better than their records is. To say that they were, what they do finish was it 13th or 14th or something overall?
15th.
My math is terrible. 15th.
Yeah, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14th.
Wow.
14th.
14th.
14th. Right? I had to go to the playoff or the percentage. 14th.
So this team would have won a lot more games
Yeah.
if they faced the other teams. that's why I'm looking ahead to next year and thinking that they're gonna look good. I think there's no way this team is in another lottery spot. There's no way that Halifax is gonna get a lottery pick of ours 2 years in a row. If you look at, there's just too many teams that are going to be unloading next season. And Moncton's just going to take a step up. They're going to get a full season in. They're going to play against teams that they can beat. They're going to play against teams that they shouldn't beat and still win. Honestly, I think looking ahead to next year, we're probably going to be hopefully middle of the pack. I wouldn't, in that 7 to 10 range overall.
Yeah,
I would have absolutely nothing wrong with that, because it's still going to be a young team. If they can finish, middle of the pack next year, they're going to be looking good going forward.
So I think, I'm trying to remember, I think early in the season I said the strength of this team was the defense core. Now that was with Spence and Stewart and DeYoung. Once you move out Stewart and Spence, the defense got really young. I still liked what I saw from Yasenza. I think another year of him growing in the game, just limiting some of those. We saw it in the Bathurst games. There, he was easy to get rattled, and then he took some penalties. It was easy to get under his skin. Pilote kind of stepped up. Olsen was up and down. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see McKinney. And then Thomas Darcy, I don't want to say they weren't the strength of this team, but I thought they held up fairly well. I think obviously the strength of this team ended up being the forwards, and this team being so young, knowing the system, getting another year hopefully with Dan Laquan, even if he does get an opportunity, Boyce, Heptich, Salvis, they've been in the system for 2 years. They can kind of step in, and things won't change as much. And this is a crazy good young core that gets to move up, move together one more year.
Yeah, for sure. And they're only going to get better.
Yeah.
It would look, if they can get, someone like Hopkins or Rossi in the lineup next season, it'll look even better.
Running out of spots, the slot guys. Remember
I
last
know,
year? Last year there was like 3 or 4 spots that were for sure. Hudson, Stewart, Forche. Now there's, we'll get into it after we chat with our guests for next year, but there's 2 forward spots.
There's
maybe
not much, not much open.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous to think. You're going to be in the second year of a rebuild, and there's no spots on your roster.
Yep.
Come on. But I guess it's good. It's good. It just shows that they're drafting well. They're getting the right free agents, and they're getting players that want to play here.
Yep.
And if that continues, then there's just going to be nothing wrong.
Sky's the limit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if we're going to look back on last year, why don't we bring on the guest we've been teasing all show to look back, not only in this season, but his season and his career in the QMJHL. He was drafted in the 4th round, 64th overall in 2016 in Charlottetown from Antigonish, Nova Scotia. He was a major leader, not only on the ice, but so much off the ice in his time here. Number 92, Jacob Hudson. How do you welcome in, man?
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I guess first question, what do you remember about that draft day in Charlottetown? Because I think Jeremy's got some memories of it. I think he was there.
Yeah.
No, it was a great day. We went over the night before on the ferry to PEI's in Charlottetown at the Eastlink Center. I was actually ranked to go in the 9th to 12th round. Wasn't really sure if I was going to go to the draft, to be honest. My parents convinced me to go. Said it's a once in a lifetime, and it was a great day. Moncton ended up taking me in the 4th round. Was super excited. After that we had a team, a draft dinner, I guess. All the prospects, they had dinner for us, the Wildcats, at the hotel, and it was a great day overall.
Because you mentioned you were ranked in the 9th to 12th round. How many teams did you talk to prior to the draft, and did you have any information that you might go in the 4th round, like that sooner or earlier than you're actually ranked?
I had thoughts of it, but I wasn't exactly sure. my grandfather and my parents, they both thought that I was going to go higher. But yeah, I mean, I didn't want to get my hopes up. It was where I was ranked. So I mean, yeah, I just kind of I had my hopes. Obviously, you want to get selected as early as you can, and but yeah, I mean, I didn't want to get my hopes up in case something happened. But yeah, I was lucky to get drafted fourth round by Moncton.
I guess not a lot of people know this. I guess some people do. But tell us what it's like growing up with Dennis Bonvie as your uncle, and what kind of advice did he give you as a player?
Oh, Dennis has been awesome my whole life. He's always been somebody I look up to. He's been my hockey idol. You know, he's just always been there throughout my whole career. He's been amazing. You know, anything I could go to him with anything, hockey or even life related. And yeah, you know, he was big this year. You know, in my you know, in the situation with the 20-year-olds at the start of the year, I wasn't playing. I was the odd man out, and he was kind of talking me through it and helping me and talking to Richie and Dan, and he just kind of kept giving me hope and kept sticking me with it. And you know, it all worked out. He was always positive, and he really helped me through that stage. And you know, I've been in touch with him. I keep in touch with him. He helped me get to my position next year at St. Avex. And yeah, he's just always kind of been there for everything throughout my career.
So you know, you touched on it there. You weren't the only one that, you know, obviously wanted to be on the ice. I think 2,200 fans wanted you on the ice. You know, every night. You know, just for what you brought on the ice. I guess, you know, how tough was that? I mean, you showed it, you know, off the ice, saying all the right things. You were, you know, in from what we could tell and see, you know, practicing hard, doing your job, leading these young guys. Just, you know, for a guy that's playing 64, 59, 63 games in your career to kind of not play as much in what's already a very weird year, just how did you cope with that? How difficult was that?
I mean, it was tough. You know, I've always kind of been in the lineup throughout my career. And just the toughest thing was watching, to be honest. Like in practice, like I gelled with the guys in the room. I was always talking, and then the biggest change was just game days and not being able to play. You know, but like I said, like my uncle Dennis helped me. Like I was talking to the guys, like I was talking to my parents. They just kind of kept giving me hope that I would be in the lineup, and it was just like kind of like a day-to-day thing. I just kind of coped with it, and you know, it was what it was. And yeah, like I said, day to day, and you know, in the end, it all worked out. Moncton was where I wanted to be, and yeah, it just kind of I'm really happy it worked out.
So are we, actually, if we're going to be honest. So are we. You know, do you think, you know, you talked about, you know, watching being the toughest part. Do you think that kind of helped in the second year, the way you just kind of took off? Maybe the first year you were able to see things on the ice, because, you know, the game moves so fast, and you see it on video when you're doing video stuff. But do you think actually being away and being able to see the game as it transpires just kind of maybe helped you in that second half when you literally just could do no wrong?
You know what? The biggest thing was I was able to watch. I was able to, you know, from the bench, like whenever you're on the ice, you don't see how the players play and you know what their instincts are and stuff. So I got to watch and get a feel for how each player kind of plays the game, which definitely helped. But I would say the biggest thing would be my conditioning. Whenever I wasn't playing, it wasn't like I had to like rest myself for the game that night. Like the coach would tell me, like, oh, like you're not in this weekend or whatever, and I would train so hard throughout the weekend and have Sunday as my kind of rest day, and then same kind of thing next week. Like I would grind, and then once I got back, I was in such good shape, and I felt so good that it just kind of led to how I played in the game. And then I just knew, you know, from watching all the other guys, and I knew what their instincts were, and yeah, it just kind of helped with my conditioning. That was the biggest thing. I felt really good, and getting to know the players. It was huge for me.
I guess we'll turn it back, I guess, to your midget days and being a part of the Cape Breton West Islanders, first Atlantic team to win the TELUS Cup. Tell us about that, and how your jersey is now in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Does that get you like free admission for the rest of your life, or?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great year. Well, I guess I'll start with my first year midget. I got drafted to Moncton. I came to Moncton camp. Things didn't work out. They actually wanted me to go play junior A, but I wanted to go back to midget because I knew we had a really strong team coming up. And yeah, I mean, the whole year it was just we had good players. Like we had Avery Warner, who was drafted to Cape Breton. We had Ryan McCullen, who was drafted to Cape Breton also, and then he got traded to Bathurst a bit, and then he won a Mem Cup with Rouen. We had Keenan Gillis. He had a great junior A career. Colton Ellis, he's with Charlottetown now. He's with Rimouski most of his career. I feel bad naming names now because I don't want to leave anybody out.
Jake Stewart, Logan
the
Chisholm.
two Stewarts, Logan Chisholm. We had all these good guys.
Among others.
Yeah.
Among others, yeah. And like out of that whole team, like so many of the guys went on to keep playing junior A hockey or junior B hockey and have good careers. But going back to midget, we were all from the same area. Like, when you come to Quebec, like there's guys pulled kind of all over, the Eastern Canada, and, the cultures are different, like Quebec culture and Nova Scotia culture and language and stuff. But back in midget, everyone was from the same spot, and, everyone just got along and just did their own thing. Like we had so much fun at the rink. Everyone, it was a treat to go. We actually practiced 3 times a week, which in Moncton, like you're on every day, and in the Halifax, like midget teams, they're on every day. So it was a treat to go to the rink every time because we didn't get that much time at the rink. And yeah, like just having so much fun together. We created a bond, and everyone just loved the game of hockey. We all came from little hockey towns. And yeah, so we had playoffs. We had a great year. I'm pretty sure we finished first. I don't even remember. In the league, and then we had a great playoff run. We played the Tradesmen in the first round, played Pictou County in the second round, and then Dartmouth. All pretty good teams. We went on to Atlantics. We kind of struggled a little bit in the round robin. I remember a game we were playing Miramichi, and we were down a couple goals, and we had to fight to come back, but we ended up beating the Moncton Flyers, who were ranked to win it all year. They were unstoppable. And yeah, we just kind of came in and we stole that from them. And St. John's Maple Leafs, they were also a great hockey team. They actually beat us, and we luckily snuck by them to play Moncton in the final. And then, yeah, we went on to TELUS Cup. That was actually the first time I ever been on a plane going over to Prince George. And yeah, it was just awesome over there. We had no idea, like we had nothing to lose, kind of like this year in playoffs. Like no one really expected too much out of us, but we just wanted to play hard, and that's what we did. And we lost. I remember we lost to Mississauga in the round robin, and they were kind of cocky, I guess. Like they were kind of full of themselves. And then when we beat them in the semifinal, they were the first place ranked team, and we were the 4th going in. We beat them in the semifinal, and I mean they were brutal with the media. Like they were talking trash about us. They I don't know how we lost to these guys. Like they're no good. Like trash in our hockey team. It was
Wow.
it was awful. And and then we went and we played Jacob Pelletier in the Blizzard in the final, and I mean that was just a crazy game. They were up 2-0. I think we tied it 2-2 and then 4-2. I don't know. It was just a crazy game, and we ended up going into overtime, and it was really anybody's game. Our goalie Colton Ellis played stellar the whole year, and he really kept us in at that game. And we scored the winner. Logan Chisholm just kind of threw a puck on net, and it went off the goalie's blocker and up in the air, and it just kind of bounced in the net. And yeah, it just celebration started there. I mean, I was just on the ice. We just got the cup. We got all our stuff. We got our medals, and we actually got our Telus Cup rings, which are awesome. And our equipment guy came over to me and he just said, "I'm going to need your gloves and your jersey." And I was like, I was thinking, like, what for? And he's like, "You're the first. You're the first guy out of. We're the first team out of Atlantic Canada to win the Telus Cup, and you're the captain, so they want your jersey." So, I mean, that was shocking to me. I never expected that. And yeah, they after that, I went in the room and I took my jersey off, and a couple weeks later, somebody took a picture and sent it to me of my jersey, helmet, and gloves in the Hockey Hall of Fame, along with Logan Chisholm's hockey stick where he scored.
Have you been to see it yourself yet, or?
I actually haven't. It's just so out of the way in Ontario. I've never been. My parents aren't big travelers. I'm a homebody. Both of my brothers, they don't go too far. So, it's just kind of out of the way. I hope to get to see it someday. And, until then I've just seen pictures of it. So, I mean, it's still pretty cool.
I guess I'll follow that up because obviously, you went on to win the championship against Jacob Pelche. How often did that come up in the dressing room? And was it when you guys first met at that training camp, was there any chirps?
When Pelch showed up, he just walked in with his ring. Hudson just walked in with his ring. He's like, "Hey, buddy, welcome to the team with this Telus Cup ring."
So was that kind of a friendly chirps between the two of you, or what's going on?
You know what?
There?
Like, it was friendly for sure, but we there was kind of a language barrier there as well. Like, I was all English and he was all French, so like I didn't want to just like come right out and say it, but after a couple weeks and getting to know each other and stuff, I had to pull it out on him. I had to. I remember being at the tournament at the Telus Cup and hearing that Moncton was really interested in Jacob Peltier. And like, it wasn't a surprise that they took him at the draft. Like, he's an unbelievable player. And yeah, once we kind of met a little bit through, we used to go to the V-Reds camp in Fredericton. Moncton Wildcats prospects would go, and we kind of met a little bit there. And then once we got to Moncton and in the room and getting a little more comfortable with each other, I just had to pull it out on him.
I like it. So we've had Richie on, like, in talking about your jersey being in the Hall of Fame, and I've said many times, I got here in 2018, so this is the first kind of class that I'm seeing of a few years that'll be graduating, so it'll be very different not to see like Tristan de Jong's number 5 and your number 92 in the ring. Just, do you remember the day that you got to wear 92 for the Wildcats? Because Richie tells us, I mean, he's not a fan of high numbers, but when your number's in the Hockey Hall of Fame, you get that number. Do you remember how that kind of went down?
Yeah. So I remember my first year when I was still in midget getting called up. I wore number 16 actually. So I guess I'll start like with my number, why I picked it. So there in midget, they just hand the jerseys down, right? Yep. So like, it's not, you get your jersey every year. So there were these two guys, Declan Smith, Brad Kennedy, who wore them before me, and they both were drafted in the queue. So the number was open, and I was hoping to get drafted. So I kind of took it, hoping for some luck, and that's why I picked 92. Mm-hmm. So that's, yeah. So I had number 16 penciled in if I were to make the team. My going into my second year, I guess, with Moncton. My rookie year. So I had 16, and then there's a guy, Riley McRae. He came from Erie, and he was with the Wildcats, and he wanted number 16. So he kind of was talking to the equipment guy, Jody Mitchell, at the time, and you just kind of asked me, he said, this guy wants number 16. So, hey, do you mind giving it up? And I was like, no, like, I don't really care. Like 16 is not important to me. Like, I'll take whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave me a couple different options, and he told me to sleep on it. So the next day I come to the rink, and I didn't even get into the dressing room yet. And he comes right up to me and he says, first off, like, congratulations on the great year last year. You know, he didn't know that your jersey, like he didn't know that my jersey was in the Hall of Fame. He knew I was number 92 in midget.
Oh.
And he said, I didn't know your jersey was in the Hall of Fame. That's incredible. So we're going to give you number 92 this year. And I was so ecstatic. It was just awesome. And that, it just kind of stuck with me. Next year at St. X, I'm also going to be wearing number 92. So
that's awesome.
Kind of something that stuck with me, and it's worked out. It's awesome.
Oh no! Well, there you go. Right?
Yeah.
I guess. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Is that the? Is that the?
Yeah, 100%.
Exactly.
I got one more question for you. It's not hockey related, but I like to throw this one out anytime we have a player on the show. But let's just say, best case scenario, we get ourselves an Atlantic bubble again this summer, and I make my way to Antigonish for the first time in my entire life. Where do I go eat?
Oh man. There's two great spots that are on my mind right now. If you're looking for pizza, Donairs, the Wheel Sub Shop, you can't go wrong. I mean, honestly, I came home on Wednesday, and my mom ordered the pizza on Friday for me. So, I mean, that just tells you how much I love it. It's a great. I know the owner, Mike. He's awesome, and yeah, it's just a great spot. If you're looking for like a steak or like a fish and chips, Mother Webb's, that's awesome there. Really good food. Onion rings are amazing, and yeah, those would be the two spots I would definitely recommend you guys checking out.
There you go. Here you go, folks. Jacob Hudson, Antigonish restaurant connoisseur.
Well, I mean, we love to eat. We just need this bubble to get open. Last one for me, and I'll leave it hockey related. I mean, this we started the show with a quick question on who's going to take over C, or if we're going to have a C. And you had some great chemistry with Langlois and Barbashev. Just kind of talk about being the leader. I mean, you learned from great leaders last year. We had a full team of them. Just take that into playing with that group and what Langlois will bring to us next year, because he's on an unbelievable trajectory.
Yeah. I mean, to start, whenever I came into Moncton, Lane Cormier was the captain at the time, and he always made me feel welcome. He, like, even as a call up, like coming from kind of the same area, he actually played against my oldest brother growing up. And he just kind of like showed me the way. He was great. He was really good to me. And then after that was Aspero, I believe, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
And he was awesome. He was kind of a quiet leader, but he just led by example. He was a beast on the ice. And yeah, he just kind of showed me the way. He had such a good work ethic. And then coming with Peltz, he just brought so much energy to the group. Such a fun teammate. And yeah, I just learned so much from all of them, along with other leaders in the room. And I just wanted to bring everybody together. I played on groupie teams. And I think that I did a good job of kind of keeping everybody tight knit. And just have fun. I think everybody had fun this year. It was a great year. It was easy. We had a lot of young guys, but they wanted to learn, and they had great work ethic. And yeah, I mean, I just couldn't have asked for a better group to work with, along with DJ and Dak, Phil, Forte when he was here. Langer, Hammer, all the veteran guys, they were awesome this year. Just kind of doing their own thing, and just having fun, bringing the enthusiasm to the rink. yeah, it was just great. And yeah, to go with Langlois. I mean, he's played stellar all year. And yeah, I mean, I think he'd be a good fit. I think Jake Stu would be a good fit. I think Phil Daou would be a good fit. Anthony Hamill. I mean, you got some good 19-year-olds and 18-year-olds veterans coming up, and they lead the right way as well. And yeah, I mean, any one of those guys, they'll be a good leader for the Wildcats. And the rookies turning into veterans, they're full of energy. They're gonna be a great team in the future. And yeah, the future is bright for the Wildcats for sure.
All right, man. Well, I got one last question. It's not from Jeremy and I. It's from Chris, and he just wants to know how happy are you to be going home?
Oh, very happy. Thanks for the question, Chris. I mean, just kind of giving back. My parents have driven everywhere to watch me play. They were at most rinks in Quebec. They were all over the Maritimes. I'm luckily I still have all my grandparents that are very supportive. All my family is from Antigonish. I have younger cousins coming up through Antigonish minor hockey that I'll be working with, and yeah, I just kind of saw it as the right fit for me. I skated with some of the ex guys over last summer and over Christmas break as well. The coaching staff I know quite well: Sean Donovan, Zach McQueen, Dave Stewart, and then the head coach Brad Peddle. I mean, yeah, it's just in the end, I just saw it as the right fit for me, and it ended up being my hometown. So I'm very, very lucky and very fortunate to be coming back to such a great spot.
Well, man, we want to thank you for taking the time to join us. I know that I'm not alone in saying this. I mean, it's gonna be very weird not to see 92 step on that ice next year. So, man, we've had many interactions, whether it's the preseason interviews that we've done that didn't start out so great, but we've gotten better together over time. To watching you on the ice, man, it's just been a pure pleasure to watch you night in and night out grind away, and then as well do everything off the ice. So if you want to say anything to your fans of Moncton, I mean, the floor is yours to finish this off, man, because you've earned it.
Thank you. Yeah, just to the fans in Moncton, I'd say 5 years, even whenever I was a call up, they were very supportive of me, coming in my whole career. They have always had my back and always supported us. So, my hat goes off to them. They've been unreal my whole career, and I can't thank them enough for all the support. And yeah, thank you guys very much for having me. You guys have been very supportive with us as well. It's great seeing the Wildcast podcast jersey in the stands, and yeah, we really appreciate all you guys have done for us.
All right, man, no problem. It was a pleasure. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Jacob.
All right, take care.
Yeah, see ya.
Just an absolute treat. We said it a couple weeks ago. I mean, it's going to be hard to not see 5 on the ice, and I think it's, I was talking to Tristan. He was kind of walking around the arena. This is literally like you've had this where you've seen guys come in, draft, develop, graduate. I mean, this is my first time actually seeing, like, Tristan Dion got here the same time I did. Jacob Hudson. I mean, he was my second preseason interview when I started this show. So it's going to be very weird, and I can't thank the guy enough for joining us.
Yeah, it's not like the NHL where you can have a 10 or 15 season career with the same team, right? And in Jacob Hudson's case, it's not often where you see a player literally be with the same team the entire time. I know he played when he was 16. He played that. I think he played that max, that 10 games as a call up rule. I think he played it. I think he played 9 or 10. And then he had
10 according
10,
to
so he
Elite Prospects.
Played that full that 10-game rule.
Yep.
So he had his 10 games in the second half, and then a full timer the next year. So he's literally been one of those guys at 16, playing at 16 all the way until he's 20. So That's rare. That's rare in junior hockey now. So he's been, he's been one of those warriors, one of those, an ambassador really now for the Wildcats that, for many, many years to come. And like you said, like his cousins, if they're coming up through minor hockey, you might see one of them wearing the Wildcats jersey. And I don't know, he didn't say how old they were, but they could be playing Timbits right now. Yeah. But it could be, we could see another Hudson in the lineup, in the coming years. So we'll see.
It's fine. Yeah, I didn't want to ask him, but I mean, we talked about, did he deserve to go and have a chance to win a cup somewhere? And he absolutely did. But I'm glad that Richie made the decision to not move him, give him a chance, and allow him to be a leader and be here for this team and teach this team going forward. So that takes us into next year, man. I mean, there's, we kind of touched on a little bit. We went from maybe 4 forward spots and 3 defense spots for sure, being nailed down. And now, well, our starting goaltender's nailed down. Most of our forwards are nailed down, and I think it's only defense. Like that, and even that. Like what are you seeing ad wise?
Ad wise, well, I think your first line would be Loshing, Dao, and Barbashev. Okay,
I had Langlois, Dao, and Barbashev.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna split hairs here on.
Well, I think Langlois is such he's I don't see him as a first line player, but he's like a second or third line player.
Yeah, I just went with the connection with Barbashev. Maybe they bring that connection next year, and Lacroix goes with pairs of guys instead of sets of 3, and Barbashev and Langlois as a pair.
I think I see LaBelle on the second line.
Yep.
And I think we'll probably go out and get a 20-year-old center for that line, and then we'll have our Euro on the right side of that line.
Okay.
Third line, that's when it starts to get a little weird for me. But I mean, I have Langlois on the right side. I have Casey in the middle, and I have Kluche on the left side. And then I have, if Rossi comes, I have Rossi on the fourth. I have LeBlanc on the fourth. I have Alexis Danielle on the fourth.
Yeah.
And then that's your 4 lines. So there's really, and you have to find a spot here for your 18th overall pick.
Yep. Which I had on the third line. I had him and Stewart and a Euro or a free agent or a 20-year-old there.
I just realized I don't even have Jake Stewart on my lineup.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's actually ridiculous because you're the second year of a rebuilding year and you have a hard time finding room for your players.
I don't think you had Kluche on there either.
Yeah, I had Kluche on my third line.
Oh, did you? Okay.
But that's the thing; it's so tough.
Bernier could be a 20 next year.
It's very tough to put this lineup together next year. I mean, I think the only logical openings we have would be like we're going to need a 20-year-old forward. Whether that's Jake Stewart, whether that's Gabriel Bernier, or whether we go and get somebody. Like we're gonna have Dao in the top line as a 20, and then we'll need another one, and we'll need another one on
the back end.
The back end for sure. We're gonna need 2 20-year-old forwards and one on the back end for sure.
Yeah.
So do I think Bernier played well enough to be 20 next season? Maybe. Do I think Jacob Stewart deserves a spot on this team next season? I do believe Jacob Stewart deserves a spot on this team just for what he brings.
I was going to say he just brings a little bit more with the face-offs and the penalty killing.
Yeah, and his leadership. Leadership is number one.
Yeah.
But yeah, like on the
so that's your 2 20-year-old forwards, Dao and Stewart.
But I don't know if Jake Stewart has that. He's not a second line player. He's someone that would. He's a third line player. But at the same time, if you have a 20-year-old on your as a forward, usually they're playing the top 2 lines. I just don't know if Jake Stewart has that the offensive upside to play a second line. He's not that type of player. So that's where it gets kind of tough for me.
Yeah.
And then at that point you're still trying to find a spot for Paven. You're still trying to find a spot for Richard.
You think Paven stays at forward? I mean, he's done enough. He was great up there with limited players. But you think he
100%? I would.
Okay.
Yeah, I would.
I just wonder if it's kind of the Aspro situation. He's played forward. He's been up there enough. Does he maybe come back to defense because you can there's a little bit because he played a defense a couple games, and I liked him no matter where they put him in the lineup. But I think for him to find a spot, it's a little bit easier for him to find a spot on the back end, especially when you're going to have a 13th Euro pick, 18th overall, maybe 22nd or 23rd if Hopkins doesn't come back.
Yeah, so it'll be 13th.
I think Paven maybe finds an easier spot on the back end, and you don't want to say it, but I mean, if we're going to get a 19-year-old, a 20-year-old, not being able to find spots in lineups, we have the ability to move some of these guys who had great years as rookies in the queue. Their draft value just gets that little bit higher, right?
I think as we get closer to the draft, and then closer to August and then September,
this should be easier.
Things might clear up.
Yeah.
Because you might see, at draft weekend, you might see, someone like a Stammer, we know he can score.
Yep.
A team might say, hey, we'll take him off your hands for, I don't know,
pick X,
yep. Right? And that just at that point you're one less guy. Things look easier. Hopkins is a wild card right now. Rossie's still a wild card right now. We don't know what's happening there. I think on D the D is kind of the easiest part right now, because I have Pilat, and then I think we'll go out and get a 20.
Yeah,
play with Pilat.
Yeah, I had that.
I have Olsen with Darcy. I have Iasenza with Hamel.
I didn't even have Olsen come back this year. I had Paven and Iasenza, Hamel, and I guess you could slot Olsen in there.
See, that's why I have Paven up front, because there's no room for him. Right?
Yeah.
You need him to be playing, and I think the only spot you have for him right now on a regular basis is at forward.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I have Pilat with a 20-year-old. A couple names come. I think the one name that I would want is
this is not tampering.
No, he'd be 20 next season on Blainville.
You're the same guy you want.
You would never be able to pronounce his last name. Let's just say that.
All right,
it's got like 18 letters. But de Grosseye on Blainville.
We're just gonna call him Yay.
Yeah, we're calling him Sam.
Sam,
the D man.
Yeah, that works.
So that's just who I would prefer to have. I think the price tag might be a little much, but to put him with Pilat would be perfect. And then Olsen and Darcy, Iasenza, Hamel, and then you're still just that forward and D group. There's no spot there for an 18th overall pick. There's no spot there for a 23rd overall pick.
Which could, I guess, be a benefit, because you don't always have to play that first round pick, especially in the 18th round, right? Like usually when you're in the top 10,
wasn't Desnoyers an 18th overall pick, and then
But this gives them the luxury of not. Like this gives them the luxury if they don't want to rush the kid, because he hasn't played that much hockey is what I'm getting at, right?
But you're like, look, you're a rebuilding team and you have no room on your roster for a 16-year-old rookie that was picked in the first round.
I'm just saying because he hasn't played a lot of hockey last year, so he can go back.
Well, it depends who you pick. If it's a player from Atlantic,
he's been playing.
They've been playing.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you
go out, a player from Quebec, they haven't, so this affords you that luxury.
There you go. You might say, okay, well, let's send him back. But it depends on who it is, right?
Yeah.
At 18th, you could. I mean, these teams that are picking up like in front of Moncton could say, okay, well, we're not going to gamble on a kid that didn't play last year. We're going to take a kid from Atlantic. You could get to Moncton. It could be Moncton's turn at 18th, and there's still a player on the board from Quebec that's the third ranked player from Quebec.
Yeah.
And it's like the draft is going to be such a wild card that you could at 18th overall you could end up with a player that's literally a top 5 pick in the draft because he just didn't get any views this year.
Yeah. That's the only reason that I say it's a luxury not to have him is because we don't know who they're going to pick. But yeah, usually, I mean, Desnoyers was an 18th. Spence was a 23rd. He was in the lineup.
If you found a spot for Desnoyers on Moncton's team,
which was a bit more veteran,
you can find a spot on this team
next
season for an 18th overall pick.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry, but if you're taking an 18th overall pick and sending them back to midget on a rebuilding team, there's something wrong. Unless he's going to be playing Junior A, top minutes in Junior A, okay, fine.
Yep.
But there's no reason why a first round pick on a rebuilding team is back at midget or playing junior right. I think you have to find a spot on the roster for him.
No, and I had the 18th pick at the third. Well, I had him as a winger.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who they're going to pick, but I had him on the third line. So I found spot. I think the only position that we know is filled, and even that we don't know who's backing up, is Filion. And you're not going with, nothing against Sheehan, nothing against Gio. I can't see him going with two 17-year-olds in a rebuild year. I got to believe that it's Filion, and they bring in an 18 to 19-year-old veteran that, can play limited minutes, maybe a free agent depending where you get. But I don't know. Do you see a lot of free agent goaltenders come to the queue, or do you see more forwards? And
well, I mean, there's always OHL cast-offs.
Yeah. I guess we saw one in Bathurst with Sabrilla. Scabarilla. That guy?
Yeah.
The guy before Arsenault and Bednar?
Yeah, whoever his name is.
I can't remember his name.
They went to Val-d'Or and didn't make Val-d'Or now anyways.
Yeah.
There's always going to be free agents out of the O. There's always going to be free agents from the Dub. You don't see very many, WHL free agents.
Yeah.
But, I'm with you. I don't think with fairness to Demadia and Sheehan and Katz might still be in this situation here, but if Filion is your number one, why would Katz come along too? Unless there's some sort of agreement to split the games. I mean, that's the only way I can see it. But I think we'll see a free agent or someone acquired to back up Filion. That's the only thing we agree on right now. So
yeah, that's literally the only thing. And maybe Daou is the first line center. That's about it. If we'll do this roster again as we come close to draft night, because one of us thinks he'll start here, one of us not so much. We'll let you decide who. We'll let you decide.
Let's wait till the pick first, and then I'll. As soon as I know the pick, I'll pencil him in.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, that's we said it all year long. We were not going to be Bathurst bad. It took 7 injuries for us to get where there was enough call-ups that games were getting a little tough in the regular season. Playoffs was a different animal, but I mean, this second-year rebuild, like you said, 7-10. I don't see where they're not in that range. Like they should be above 500, because a lot of teams that are going this year are going to be selling off. I think just in our division, Bathurst is going to be better. St. John is still a wild card. We don't know what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Cape Breton is kind of right with us. Halifax is maybe a year, but depending, they've got a new coaching staff. They should be better. The Islanders, I mean, you think they could be a wild card to host, which means they're kind of in a 2-year window. I think Moncton could potentially finish third in the division.
The Maritimes are going to be really competitive next year.
Yeah.
If you look at Charlottetown and St. John, I mean, these should be two teams that are really good. Next season, Halifax should be, they have the team to probably get that third spot. And then the Bathurst. Well, Bathurst would probably have the third spot. And then, it's a dogfight between, ourselves and Cape Breton and Halifax for that 4, 5, 6. It's literally going to be a carbon copy of this year, right? It's like, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if the standings in the Maritimes division next year is identical to what it was this year. But I think we might have a leg up on Halifax next year. I think they've got a good group of players, but I think we've shown, if this team comes in every night and competes, I think we'll be able to get that 4th spot. But yeah, St. John, I mean, you got to figure they'll go for it next year. Charlottetown, you got to figure they'll go for it next year. Bathurst is going to look a lot better next year. So at that point, I think we're battling for fourth with the Eagles and the Mooseheads.
So we'll just replay all these episodes next year.
Basically,
It's kind of nice though to have that. You always talk about we missed the rivalry with St. John because the junior hockey cycles don't mix up. This looks like it's going to mix up nicely for Halifax Moncton. Did you win something?
No.
Oh, I just always check you're always winning, so you always got to make sure he's not winning. This sets up 2-3 years down the road. I mean, Moncton and Halifax battling in the playoffs. I think the biggest thing for next year is the coaching. It's his whole staff can come back. We're that much, a little bit more ahead of Halifax.
Mm-hmm.
I like our goaltending better than Halifax. Now we don't know what they're going to add because they've just got Brady James, I believe. So, it'll be
It'll be a fun year.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully 75% capacity to start the season.
That'd be nice.
That would be. Still that's. We don't even get that on most nights anyway, right? So that'd be like 5,000 ish
Roughly.
Um,
If we can get 3,500 on an average night, we should be all
let's
right.
just say there's going to be a lot more people in the building next year.
Yep.
We're going to be doing more traveling next year, as long as there's not a COVID-21 for crying out loud. But anyways, we're not going to even say that.
Yeah. We're going to have a full season, 68 games.
Yep.
And yeah, we don't know. I mean, you just look at around. Chicoutimi's probably not going to be as good. Victoriaville shouldn't. They're a team that'll get a lot younger.
I think Victoriaville will be younger next year. I mean, Val-d'Or's going to fall off. Blainville's going to fall off. Chicoutimi's going to fall off. Victoriaville's probably going to fall off. They still have some players coming back, but
you're looking at Quebec, Drummondville, Gatineau. They're going to rise. Rouyn-Noranda, I think they should be a little bit better. And then Rimouski, Sherbrooke, Cape Breton, Baie-Comeau, us, Halifax. We're all kind of in that.
Yeah.
That 7 to 10.
I mean, other than Zach Bolduc, Rimouski doesn't have much.
Yeah.
Because I guess they have Biaka Batuka, right? He's on Rimouski now, so I mean, he's good.
He's all right.
But yeah, Bolduc and Biaka Batuka. I mean, I guess you can build your team around them, but I mean, they're getting old, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy because next year Bolduc's gonna be 18 years old.
These young kids, man, they just grow up so fast.
I just don't. It's crazy because I think you're probably going to see Rimouski trade these guys next year. Like they're in, what's the point of keeping those two around when there's nothing
to be a middling team for 2 years?
Right, you've got nobody to build those two around.
Yeah.
It's so yeah. Other than the Maritimes division, which is probably going to be the most competitive next season. If Moncton can win, if Moncton finishes 4th in the Maritimes division, that could very well put them 10th overall in the league, right?
Yep.
There's, which is crazy because that just says you get 4 of the top 10 teams in the league are from the Maritimes. Okay, perfect. It just shows how and usually that's the best part about the Maritimes division because it's super competitive.
Yep.
Because it's big markets. These were the good players want to come play. That's what makes these hockey games great.
And say what you will about the weird round robin, but that is only going to help this hockey club moving forward. 2 playoff games is 1 regular season game, so they've got a ton of extra experience all the way up and down the lineup. So it's exciting times, and we're going to be here from the draft to the preseason to cover it for you. But let's get to everybody's favorite part of the show.
Eric Murray Realty. Buy a house from him.
Stick tap of the week.
All right. So I'll end this one on a bit of a fluffy note. We've said some good things about this team. We've said some bad things about this team.
Some honest things about this team.
Yeah, honest. I guess, bad. I'll say honest instead of bad. But put all that behind us, and this team delivered. They gave us some entertaining games to watch, which they shouldn't have even been competing in.
Yeah.
It's tough to win a game when your 3 top forwards are out. It's tough to win a game when your top 6 forwards are out. I mean, but honest to God, this team just continued to find a way to win. And if they didn't win, they were competitive. And that's what we asked for from the beginning of the year. It didn't matter if they lost 1-0 or lost 9-1. As long as we saw the effort, we'd be happy. And I think I can speak for you, Adam. We're happy.
Yep.
So, there's a lot of good coming out of this season. So, obviously the stick tap is the final stick tap of this season. Is going out to all the players, the coaching staff, everyone who had anything to do with the product on the ice. Right from Richie at the top down to your fourth line fourth liners, your sixth or seven, 8 defensemen, your backup goalies. You each had a part of this team to really make us feel confident going into next season. So I think you're well deserving of the final stick tap of the season. And like Adam said, we'll be back for the draft. We're probably gonna do him and I will have some drinks that evening, probably, and we'll do an Instagram live when our picks coming up, and I'll have my notes of all the all the games, all the Quebec players that I watched this year, because there's been so many games. I'll have all my notes and all that to, and I'll finally pencil in our 18th overall pick in the lineup.
All righty.
Yeah.
The Stick Tap of the Week, sponsored by Eric Murray Real Estate with the Remax Avante team. If you're looking to buy or sell a home in the greater Moncton or surrounding area, make sure to check him out on social media or give him a call at 506-863-8802.
All right, that brings us to the Rosemary Lynn's Massage Wildcat of the Year. Rosemary Lynn's Massage is now open, located at 1224 Mountain Road, Unit 6. They offer relaxing, therapeutic deep tissue massage, mommy-to-be massages, as well as anything that you need to relax. You can call now for appointments, 830-1224. You can call Nicole. Follow her on Facebook and Instagram, Rosemary_Lynn's_massage. I mean, the final Wildcast of the week / year goes to our guest of honor tonight. I mean, you heard it in our interview. He's been everything for this team for the past, 4 or 5 years, from being drafted, all of his 10 call-up games, to everything he's done for this franchise. He was a leader off the ice with the limited games. You heard him talk about it. And then his red hot restart, 18 games, 14 goals, 16 assists, 30 points in the restart there, and in the playoffs, 5 games, 3 goals, 1 assist for 10, or 7 assists for 10 points. Your final Wildcat of the year goes to our captain, your captain, number 92, Jacob Hudson. Jeremy, that's it. We made it. We're done for another season on the Wildcast podcast. First of all, we want to thank Jacob Hudson for joining us tonight and everything he's done in his career.
Yes, thank you to Jacob, but also we want to wish I don't know, sure. We want to wish a very, I was going to say Merry Christmas. Wow, I'm not good at closing the show. This is why he's the host.
That's why you just read off the list.
So a huge thanks to everyone who has joined us this year. Jamie Tozer from Station Nason, Pat McNeil from Cape Breton Eagles, even though we've crazy to think we never saw them here this year.
That's weird, yeah.
Gareth McDonald from the Halifax Mooseheads, Mike Sanderson from the Sea Dogs, Tim Roselle, our play-by-play voice for the Wildcats, Aiden Northcott, Mr. Sox for the Charlottetown Islanders, Johnny Rocket up in Bathurst, Chris Clark from the Patcast, and of course, if you did not remember this, the OG of junior hockey, Peter Lobardius, who also has joined us during the season.
That's a good group of guests.
Yeah, not bad. We will try to step up our game next season, and we're already getting requests to join us next season. Heard a rumor that some guy named Sam from Sportsnet has potentially accepted an invitation.
Maybe a voice you've heard of in the Coliseum.
Yeah, he's been around. Yeah. We're
another voice of the Wildcats.
Another from the past. So we're getting up there.
And who knows what we're gonna have come draft time? Maybe.
The ultimate prize of Mr. Robert Irving.
That is the gold standard interview.
Which would be I think at that point we'd probably shut down the podcast and call it a day.
Yeah,
because that would be
that's the ultimate,
the gold medal.
Yeah, we want to thank the players we had early on in the preseason. We kind of did view from the other bench. We're hopefully going to be able to continue that. We had the Acadie Bathurst Titan players, Mark Rumsey and Adam McCormick. Islanders forward Thomas Casey as well. We had Phil the Thrill from the Wildcats this season, and then Jacob Hudson. We want to thank the sponsors this season, Eric Murray Real Estate for his continued support, Rosemary Lynn Massage for coming aboard this season. And lastly, everyone out there, everyone listening, we do this show. You make the show go. It's for you, whether you're tuning in on YouTube, whether you stop in for the post-game show on Instagram, downloading the podcast, stopping us, talking to us. I started this thing for just another avenue of coverage, and now it's grown into something I couldn't believe. All the billets who listen, who couldn't be here this year, who've reached out a few times to thank. Well, they reach out to me because I run the social media, but reach out to us for the continued coverage just to give them an update. This has been a weird year. We had late starts, restarts, 4 months of no hockey. This is a trying time in everyone's mental health. You guys helped us as much as we helped you, so we can't do it else without you. So thanks for everything this season. Thanks to you for showing up every week, bud.
Well, except for 2 weeks ago.
Well, other than that.
But yeah, hey, when it's your turn, get your friggin' vaccine.
Yes, 100%. Get your vaccine. Guys, we're going to take a little bit of a break. We're going to be back in mid-June to get you ready for the 2021 QMJHL presented by Fen Blast on the QMJHL YouTube page. That is it. Get your vaccine. Stay safe so we can have a regular season. Have a good night.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Wildcast podcast. Follow us on social media at Moncton Wildcast.